Hi, I am Nazir North and welcome back to the map making series. Today we are moving far down to the southwest portion of the map to work on an area that I've named Khuladesh. Now this is a dense rainforest area, a lot of tall mountains, a lot of rivers, thick vegetation everywhere. A lot of greenery. We're going to be placing down a lot of trees, pushing my computer to the limits as I start to test how many assets Wonderdraft can handle at once. And overall, a very interesting, very different area to most of the regions that we've worked on so far. My overall design philosophy for this region is that it's largely inaccessible by foot. You know, both the coastline and the interior of the this portion of the continent are just really difficult to traverse. Either high mountains, steep gorges, or just thick rainforests. And the people who live in Khuladesh, in this country, they're mostly seafarers, so I have this idea for almost like pirate-themed but South Asian-influenced nation of people, where their core settlements are very deep inland near some of the wider rivers and large lakes, with this sort of barrier of the thick rainforest protecting them from outside or hostile forces. They then use these wide rivers to sail their essentially pirate ships down the rivers and out into the open ocean, where they have access to the coastlines of all of their neighbours for, classic pirate activity, raiding and pillaging. So far I've placed some of the mountain ridges and the associated hills. I'm going to flesh this area out with a few more small islands. Again, pirates love islands, you need somewhere to store your stash. And then we're going to get into the rivers next, and then the trees, of which there are going to be a lot. So Wonderdraft does have a tool that you can use to place a sort of randomly generated lake shape. I tend to prefer to draw them out myself with the water tool, but either way works. When I'm drawing the main river out of the lake, and typically lakes will only have one water flow going out from them, there's a little option there you'll see on the right on the bar to turn off that blending feature at the source of the river. So I turn that off from a lake so you have the full width from the beginning, and turn that back on then when I'm doing the small rivers. Sometimes the rivers, if you turn them at too sharp an angle, you get this small graphical glitch where a couple of the pixels poke out of the edge of the river. You might spot that here and there, but usually you can just readjust that angle you're curving the river at to get rid of it. Rivers and lakes done. Now we begin the fairly long process of getting the vegetation onto the map. That darker green pine tree, you're not going to see a lot of that in this region as it's a sort of hot tropical area. I put a few of those up here in the mountain ranges towards the north of the country, but very few, if any, in the rest of this region. particularly dense, large areas of forest in this region, I go again with the brush, putting the density up a little bit and just spreading those trees around. This part of the video becomes a bit like a colouring book, just colouring between the lines of the rivers with trees. A lot of trees. some of these islands as well. Perfect place for a pirate cove where they can hide their treasure. Mid-recording this part to quickly Google if there was any way in Wonderdraft to count how many assets you'd placed on a map total. I have no idea how many it's going to be by the end of this map, because even after Khuladesh we're still maybe only about 2/3 of the way through the total world map. Got to be in the tens of thousands at least, I expect. Even just the trees alone. Can't use the brush for all the areas, unfortunately, otherwise the trees are going to overlap with the rivers. I couldn't seem to get the brush size down smaller than 64. That seems to be the minimum size set in. So I have to go in, manually place the rest. As this entire country would be pretty much 100% forest were it not for human intervention, those areas that I'm leaving devoid of trees and just putting in some grass tufts, those are the areas where people have chopped the trees back, and that's predominantly where settlements are going to be. I've set out this large valley with a clearing essentially where most of the towns will be protected by the surrounding forests and hills. Last task for this area, on to colouring. I decided to try and find a new colour. You'll watch me fail miserably a couple of times here trying to get that right type of green that I want for the rainforest. I get there eventually, but it does take a few tries. Once I've got what I'm happy with, put the opacity down and start to tint most of the land. Now this green is in quite stark contrast to the greens I've used further north, so I may come back once the whole map is done just to tweak some of the colours to blend them in a little bit more, but I'm fairly happy with that green for now. And now, same as we've seen elsewhere, grey for the mountains, and brown for the hills. That northern border, by the way, that connects Khuladesh to Ten Vortis, that is intentionally blocked off. There's not really going to be any way to walk over land between those two nations. All that's left is to put the label back. Another country completed, so that is Khuladesh now all done. If you've stayed with me for this series so far, thank you for watching. I really hope you do stay till the end. We've got a good few sessions left until this whole map is finished, and if you do want a copy, I will of course be uploading a high-res version to Reddit once we are finished. So hope you stick around. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Cheers guys.